that was never going to happen. And in case you're wondering why, here's a list of reasons. Oh, what's that? You don't like the rapidly moving giant wall of text? You're right, I'm sorry. Let's move on with the video, my bad. As I'm sure you're aware, a highly anticipated sequel has recently hit theaters. Spider-Man. And, as I'm also sure you're aware, due to its distinct visual style and stunning animation, everybody who sees it, myself included, finds himself thinking, yes, shit. Anyway, I decided to be innovative and make an animation copying the style used in the Spiderverse film. So I decided to make a quick, cool, fancy basketball animation because I've always considered myself somewhat of a... And I decided to do one of those cute little learn it in 1 week things. So, what do you guys think? Think I'm cute?
I want to tongue kiss a sexy woman right now.
So first I modeled a character and a basketball court, but we're not going to be going into detail about that because that's not the central principle of this video, alright? That's not the central principle of this video. That's what you sound like. Do you like sounding like that? That's not the central principle of this video. Dork. So, to really hammer home the idea that this video is about me learning the Spiderverse style in 7 days. No. Not one time have you specifically said that this video is about you learning. You just said that it's about making an animation in the Spiderverse style. I don't care. I decided to make the animation and the shading on the first day with no reference. To really hammer home the idea that this video is about me learning the Spiderverse style in 7 days. But even though I wasn't using reference, I still did everything, well, tried to do everything properly and effectively. You know, blocking out poses, working on timing, getting decent lighting, so on, so on, and so on. And this is what I managed to throw together. Don't judge me too harshly. So yeah, you know, it's not the best, but I'm still proud of it. It's always good to take pride in your work because without that, what do we have? Anyway, from here on out the video should definitely get more interesting.
Keep in mind, an animation made over the course of a week will almost always look better, regardless of whatever style one may be trying to capture. 6 extra days is plenty of time to refine stuff and make things overall look better. So while the end result in this video will likely be much better than what you've seen so far, please remember that a video like this is misleading by nature. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Don't come in here. Pissing our pants yet? Today, I watched lots of videos, and believe it or not, they weren't just Drake ones either.
Embarrassing.
I watched some scenes from the Spider-Verse movies, and a lot of videos breaking down scenes from the Spider-Verse movies, and then even more videos on how to replicate those type of things inside of Blender. Because if you haven't realized by now, this type of video has been made before. The first thing I did was soften the color transitions in the shader. And then, arguably, the most important part of the shader was adding the comic print dots in the bright areas and adding this line hatching in the shaded areas. And then instead of leaving the lights just strewn about like a small child after a pit bull's done with it, I set them up more like a traditional basketball stadium. The fact that this has already made such a significant difference is definitely promising. So after giving it some thought for a few weeks, I came to the conclusion that regardless of how good I make the shading and lighting and effects look, it's all gonna completely fall short if I can't get the animation up to a better standard. So, yes, that's right. Great guess. That's what's up next. Starting out, I changed the timing and position of the camera throughout and adjusted the key poses to match. And then, because, I'll be completely honest, my animation bundles aren't the best, I did some more research into that to improve my overall animating skills. There were two very important takeaways that I hadn't known before this. The first being the necessity to have clean, smooth arcs in animation. This is important because regardless of whether or not an animation is made in 2D or 3D, ultimately the final viewing will always be through a screen, which is purely a 2D medium. So, naturally, having the character follow a clear arc of motion through the perspective of the camera, that's you, that's where you guys are at, is important. And Blender actually has a built-in tool to make seeing motion paths super easy. It's the Read Motion Paths tool. Who would have guessed? Secondly was the idea, the closer two frames are together in space, the slower they will look moving in animation, which is something I, for some reason, never really grasped before, as simple as it sounds now saying it out loud. So yeah, this is kind of embarrassing for me, but no, stop touching me! But again, the motion paths tool actually helps visualize this and makes it a little easier to see and work that out. And then I kind of struck some gold when I found out this weird aspect of animating on 2s. Often in both 2D and 3D, the camera will still actually move on 1s, so if the character only moves on every other frame, in shots when the camera is moving or panning, the animation can end up looking really choppy and messy. So oftentimes in animation, the character, I guess, moves with the camera to stay in the exact same part of the frame, even though they aren't animated moving on said frame. I tried a few methods to recreate this in Blender by trying to animate the root or parent it to the camera, but I kept running into issue after issue. But the biggest one of those issues was that the character should only move with the camera on frames when the character isn't already animated. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just go back and watch it, just listen to me saying that on repeat over and over again for maybe do it 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, 2,000,000 times. Just keep doing it. Keep watching that 2-second clip of me saying it over again. Just keep doing that. Don't stop watching that clip. Let's keep going with that one clip of me saying the character should only move with the camera on frames when the character isn't already animated. And after ramming my head into the wall over and over again on this one, I actually found a video that went over this exact thing and even had an add-on specifically for Blender to solve this very specific issue. The said video is linked in the playlist in the description because I'm just charitable and generous like that. Then after sorting that out, I just animated the ball to fit with the character's movements. This was very easy. I'm very well versed with balls. Get it? It's prime. It's like, I didn't have to make that joke. Like, it's like, obviously it was the obvious joke to make. It doesn't mean you have to go for it. You don't have to go for the low-hanging fruit every time, man. I think it's safe to say this is some of the best animation I've ever done. Okay, and here we are in the home stretch. Now, I'll be honest, this kind of thing is something I had no experience with. But all I like to do is find out the methods they use in the Spiderverse movie to do those cheaty, stylized VFX. So, I did, and I found in most cases they used smears, multiples, or speed lines, and now all I had to do is put my hand in a blender. I had to find a way within Blender to recreate smears, multiples, and speed lines. This all went pretty smoothly, but between learning and implementing, it took me just over 2 days. Oh, I also made this happen for a few frames when he dunks, but it's no big deal. It's not like it's the coolest shot I've ever made or anything like that. And then the final steps also went pretty smoothly. For easier compositing, I rendered out the character, foreground, and background on 3 different layers. And then I used chromatic aberration to simulate depth of field, just like they do in the movies. Apparently this is something that can actually happen in comics due to misprinting or something, but I wouldn't know. I'm not a nerd. Then, all that was left was to add sound. Which I actually hate doing, by the way. But anyway, here's the final result. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'd say I achieved what I set out to achieve. There are other things I would have liked to put in, but you know, I said I'd do this in 7 days, I'd reach that limit, and I didn't really want to put any more time into this. Like for example, this character doesn't even have eyes, but like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I mean, you never see the character up close, and I don't really plan on using this character again, so it's not like we have to see him anymore. Nope, yeah, the no eyes is definitely creepy. Anyway, peace.